This conference will now be recorded.
So in our previous class, we were working about routing and SLS, right? That is service level agreement, right? So whenever any task has been routed to any of the person, it has to be completed in so and so time. So that will be decided based on the service level agreement. That is what we have discussed. And based on the SLA or based on the thing, if you want to just go for any kind of escalations, we can able to go further. Okay. And if you want to escalate to my manager, saying like sending one email to him, even that is possible. So what are all the actions that can be done using SLAs, you can able to perform those actions. So that is what we have discussed. Now we'll discuss something about email integrations. So how can we how can we integrate our email with our Pega PRPC, and how to send emails from here. So we'll discuss about that. So if we just open this case type, so during business cases, we can able to send one email when our customer is registering with us, or we can able to send one email if the case has been approved or rejected, if the order is placed from the particular organization. So these kind of things. So there we can able to go for some automated email send, or we can able to send some customized emails also. Okay, so this is what we'll discuss. And our requirement here is whenever customer is registering with us, okay, as soon as customer is getting registered, whenever he is providing his necessary details, if those are submitted into our database, we have to send one customized email to the customer saying like, so these are all the things you have provided with us, and thank you for registering with us. So this kind of message we can able to show. So as soon as we collect his email address from him, on clicking on submit button, we can able to send one email. So that is one business scenario. And after we click on submit button here in the policy details, it will be going to the work basket routing, right? So here we can able to see something like in work basket routing. So here either HR1 or HR2 can able to take action on this particular task. They may either approve or they may reject it. So based on their approval or based on their rejection, if you want to send one email to the customer, to the concerned party, you can able to do that. Even if the manager is rejecting or approving, even then we can able to perform this. So if at all, if we are going this kind of shape, so this is color, this is something like an assignment shape, right? And this is something like a sub process shape. And during case type, if you want to send some emails when you're using with this approval type, then you can able to go we can able to make use of this approval rejection. So if the manager is either approving or rejecting, we have to take some action. If it is getting rejected, as we already discussed, work object will be automatically moved to this alternate stage. Okay, in that case, we have to go for email configuration in this stage, not here. Okay, if the manager is approving, work object will be in this primary stages only. If it is rejecting, if we are in a requirement to send any email in the rejection case, you have to do some operations in this stage, not here. Okay, if you're dealing with this normal assignment shape, if you want to send email, then we can able to have the email shapes or something configuration here. So now we'll discuss how can we send one email, and how to integrate our external inbox to the Pega PRPC, and how to send automated emails from PRPC itself. Okay, so from the very first class, we're discussing one OOTB activity called send email notification. So we can able to send email using two ways, that is like send email notification, and there will be one more thing called send email smart shape. Okay, we can able to make use of these two as per the business requirement. We will be doing this. So this is the activity from the very first class. We're discussing about this, and here we can able to see only Java code. We will not be having anything here. So if we just use this particular activity, OOTB activity referred somewhere, automatically this will be called. Okay, automatically this will be called, and and one integrated email will be sent to the concerned team. Okay, so to which email address it has to be sent, and what is the body, and what is the subject, and what is the from address from which it has to be sent. So these kind of details this will be requesting, right? So send email notification, we can able to have just an automated Java code, but even this will be requesting about the username or the password, our Gmail password, and it will be requesting about the to address, and it will be requesting for any BCC email address, or it has to request for any port number. So these kind of details it has to expect. So whenever we are using this email address, sorry, whenever we are using this OOTB activity, we have to send all these values as in parameters. So usually what are the things we'll be having? If we want to send one email, Gmail, sorry, if you want to send one email in from our Gmail, what are the things we'll be following? We'll be having something like subject. We have to enter subject, and we have to enter mail body, and we have to send. We have to give the two email address. Sometimes CC or BCC, and we have to provide a password. Okay, and we have to provide from email address. So I might be having multiple email address integrated with one email account, right? With one email application. And we have to provide, apart from this, we have to provide port number and SMTP server ID. Okay, so these are all the things very important in order to send one email. Okay, but in our real times, if you want to send one email, we'll be just entering only this. We will not be bothering about this one. Okay, so PRPC, not only PRPC, any Gmail, any inbox will be automatically picking up these values. Okay, so if you're logging into Hotmail, these values will be automatically picked up. We did not bother about all this. For Gmail, this number will be unique, these two values will be unique, and for Hotmail, these values will be different. So for each and every inbox, these values will be automatically picked up. We did not bother about this. And these are all the things what we have to provide. So if we want to send one email to the concerned party using this automated email, automated OOTB activity, we have to pass all these values as in parameters. Not only this, we have to pass many parameters. So these are all the important things. So if we go to parameters tab, we can able to see all these to be passed. Clear, right? So these are all the things that are to be passed here. So wherever I use this OOTB activity, I can able to call activity from many places, and I can able to make use of this activity into one utility shape, and I can able to call the utility shape here, right? So if I open this process, so if I just include something like utility shape after this, so if I just include that activity, send email notification activity. So if I run the case now, we should be entering all the details in this flow action. So as soon as we click on submit button, so this utility shape has to be executed and it has to run the activity. So this is the activity that has to be executed. And for this activity, we have to send all the parameters. So we can able to send all these values as in parameters. Okay, so as soon as we click on submit button, as per this utility shape, activity will be executed and it has to automatically send one email. You should be having one mail ready in your mailbox. Okay, so this is as per the flow. So wherever we can able to call the activity, we can able to go in this way. We can able to call utility shape here, or you can able to call another activity, and in that you can able to have send email notification activity. Okay, so these are all the things. So this is one way. So one way of sending email here is using send email notification OOTB activity. And other thing is we can able to do the same using one smart shape, that is send email smart shape. So if I just include like this, okay, so the purpose of this send email smart shape is also same. If I just enter all these details here in the personal info and clicking on submit button, it has to send one email automatically. So within this, so just double click here, even this has to be provided with some to address, mail body, from, subject, everything. So these are all the details, even this has to be requesting, right? Here we can able, so if we just double click on that particular shape, we can able to see send to. So here we have to enter two address. So I can able to enter two address directly, and or I can able to give the field reference also. If I just provide the field reference, I can able to give the property value. So if I just use like this, customer details dot email ID. So from the clipboard, it can able to be it can automatically pick this value and consider this as a to address. Okay, and here we can able to give the subject also, and here we will be giving something like custom. Custom meaning, sorry, here we'll be giving message. Message can be either custom or correspondence. Okay, so if you want to define any hard-coded value which will be common for each and every one, you can able to go for this kind of hard-coded custom message. Okay, If at all, if you want to have something like a dynamic value, then we have to go for correspondence. So correspondence is one separate rule that has to be created, and that rule should be referenced here. We'll discuss all this. Okay. If I just click on submit button, that's it. So these values will be captured, and it will be, so these values will be captured, and on clicking on submit button in the first shape, I mean the first personal detail shape, we have to get one email automatically sent to the thing that we're providing it here. So it will be under annotation automations. So we can able to include like this. So if we observe, this method will be very simple when compared to send email notification. Why? Because using send email notifications, I have to pass all these parameters. I have to pass to, from, subject, message, all these values are to be passed. But here it is not asking all this. It is just asking only subject, body, and message, and to address. Only these things it is asking. Then how PRPC can able to manage all other things. So these all are very, very important. Even if we just open one Gmail or any mail, you have to provide all this. If you're not providing this, mail cannot be sent. So to address, without to address, it cannot able to send. So these are all usually important. And here it is not asking for the HTTP code. Sorry, it is not asking for the SMTP, and it is not asking about the port number. It is not asking about for the password, from which email I have to send it. So it is just asking for the to address only, right? So to address I can able to give something like sample@gmail.com, and from which mail it has to be sent. If I just open my mailbox, then I'll be getting I'll be getting one mail. So from which email I have to get it? I have to get it at the rate something like an customer service at the rate amazon.com. So there should be one email address, right? So where is that email address categorized here? So that is not there. But here we will be having something like to address and from address also. From address meaning I can able to send one email from my multiple emails like customer service at the rate amazon.com, or orders at the rate amazon.com, or complaints at the rate amazon.com. So these kind of from addresses will be there. So from which email I have to send it, so that cannot be mentioned here. Okay. So this will be having many advantages, and this will be having this will be just asking only few things. So without the remaining things, how PRPC will be managing? So that will be your interrogation. So even with the send email shape also, we can able to send email, but it will be asking for only few things. And if you observe, it will not be asking for any other things here. Okay. So during runtime, whenever this is getting executed, PRPC will be executing one internal activity called send simple activity. So there will be one OOTB activity that is called send simple email, and with this will be automatically called whenever we are using smart shape. So this is the smart shape, right? Whenever we are using this smart shape, PRPC has to run one OOTB activity called send simple email. And if we are using this OOTB directly, it will not be calling any other rules. Only this rule can able to take care of all these things. But if at all, if you are going for the smart shape, it will be automatically executing these values, this OOTB activity also. From here it will be picking up. So here we can able to see to, subject, message, and all these values, right? So this will be automatically picking up from here. And if we observe, there will not be anything like port number and server. Some other details are also missing here. Okay. In send email notification, we will be having all the necessary details what a normal mailbox require. But here, if I am using the smart shape, it will be asking for only few values, and remaining values are to be supplied. That will be supplied from send simple email activity. And even here, there are few things missing. You cannot able to see all the things what we are seeing everything here. Even here, few things will be missing. We have to provide from address. Sorry, we have to provide to from address. Where is the from address here? We have to provide our password. Here we will be having everything. Password I have to provide. and I have to provide the to address from address, but here these values are not included. So no value can be passed as a parameter like password here. How PRPC will be managing? So that will be your question. So if you observe, there will be something called email account. Okay, so email account is one separate thing that has to be integrated into our PRPC, and based on this we will be getting all the parameters into this particular send simple email activity. Okay, so we have to integrate one email inbox with us. So for this PRPC application, one email inbox has to be integrated. So there we have to provide our from address and password and few SMTP details and port numbers. So these details are to be provided in that configuration, and from there PRPC will be picking up using this email account. So email account is one thing that has to be integrated separately. Okay, so from there it will be picking up all these values into this activity, and from this activity it will be using it in the smart shape. Okay. So if we compare both of this will be very simple. Okay, here we'll be having only one activity to be created, sorry, one activity to be used. We need not create also, but here we have to include one smart shape, and we have to we need not create this also, and we have to create one thing called email account that has to be created separately, and that has to be integrated here, and then it will be using this one. Okay, so any doubts as of now? So based on the business requirement, we can able to go for send email smart shape, or we can able to go for this OOTB activity, send simple, sorry, send email notification. So now we'll discuss how to create one email account. So once we create this email account, then automatically our username and password what we are providing there, so PRPC can able to take control on that inbox. Okay, I can able to link my email, sorry, Gmail or Hotmail or any other thing. So if I just link one inbox to this PRPC, it will be getting control on top of this, and it can able to get the necessary details like its password, its username, and its port number, its SMTP server ID. So these all details it can able to get it, and this will be pulled out using this activity. And once we get all these details from this activity, it can able to be used in the smart shape. So from here we can able to send the customized mail. Okay, and we can able to send the customized mail, or we can able to send the correspondence mails also. So now I'll show you how to create the email account. Then after we'll see how to integrate here and how to use this for sending one email to the corresponding party. Okay, so email account is one thing that can be created from configure. So this is not a rule. So this is just an configuration. So if we click on configure, there will be something called integration. So here there will be something called email. So click on email accounts. Okay, if we click on this, we can able to see all the available things here. And here we have to include our inbox here, and we have to give our password. Okay, so only in this kind of situation we have to have internet access for this Pega PRPC to be accessed. For all other kind of development, internet is not required. So this is just a software tool, right? But here for the email integration, we have to have something like an internet access, and before that we have to do something like security access to be changed. So if you open Gmail account, I'm trying to show it for Gmail account now. So this is my Gmail account. So if you have to go to the security first. Why? Because there will be many restrictions in our Gmail. So where we cannot able to where this Gmail will not be allowing the third party application to access this inbox. So for that we have to make some configurations here. Okay, so for that, go to security and make sure you have this second step verification off. If at all if we have this on, it will not be working. This inbox cannot be connected to my PRPC. So this is one thing, that is like second step verification should be turned off. And second thing, there will be something like low secure apps. Okay, low secure apps should be made on. By default it will be off for each and everyone, so it has to be made on. Okay, so other apps also can able to access this inbox. So I'm trying to make it on. So these two are the changes you have to put. And if you want to integrate with another inbox like Hotmail also, you can able to just make this kind of security changes there. Then only you can able to make PRPC to access this. Here we have to create one email account. So here we have to provide our Gmail port number and SMTP server ID and our username. I mean the login and password for this inbox. Okay. So click on create. So by default you may not have anything. Maybe a few OTP things you may have. That's okay. So here we have to give our account ID. So account ID is nothing but uh, the unique thing for this email account. Okay. So I can able to give something like this. I'm giving like this one. Why? Because this particular email account, there is nothing like rule to be created. So if there is no rule created, how it will be accessing it here? Okay. So if I'm, as I told you, this particular OTP activity will be pulling out all the necessary details like username, password, SMTP or port number. So these kind of details it will be pulling out from that email account what we are trying to create now. Okay. And here it will not be asking for any other thing. It will be just asking for email account. Okay. Here we can able to see there are multiple email accounts. So this is one email account. This is one thing. This is one thing. How PRPC will be picking up only the best one what I'm trying to create now. Okay. So you're getting my point, right? So I'll be creating one new email account related to my organization. So this is across my software tool, not related to my organization. So if I just create any of the email account there, PRPC has to pick up the best one only. So here I'm not providing any of the name here. Okay, so I should be providing some this kind of name or this name, any kind of name I have to provide it from here. So during runtime, PRPC has to pick the best email account. Since we are using this email account here, there should be one thing that has to be picked up by this OOTB rule. Okay, so PRPC has to pick up one best thing out of this. So one best thing out of this meaning PRPC will be picking up based on the class name only. So that is the reason account ID should be the class name only. Okay, account ID should be class name. Since we are using this, so since we are using this particular email integration in this kind of class, in this class, that is implementation work class. So let me create one email account in the integration work class. So give the same. Suppose if you are having this account ID created for framework work class, okay, or any other implementation class. If I'm trying to create it something like chg dash sample2 dash work, which will be considered as a second implementation class. If I'm trying to create it from implementation one class, that is like send emailing, and if there is any email account provided in the send implementation application 2, so that will not be picked up. So based on the class name, it will be picking up. So during runtime, if I'm trying to run this rule, if I'm trying to run this case, so during runtime, PRPC has to identify everything from the clipboard, right? So it has to get few details from here, and it has to get few details from here. And here we are providing email account. So based on this email account, it has to pick up the best thing. How PRPC will be picking up the best thing here is, as soon as we create the work object ID, all the details will be stored into clipboard. In clipboard, there will be two places where we can able to identify our work class name. Okay, if I'm trying to run one flow from framework work class or implementation class, if I'm trying to run from implementation class, the class name will be identified from pz dynasty, or it can able to be identified from one OOTB property called pxobj class. Okay, you know this, right? So based on this pxobj class, PRPC will be identifying this account type. So account type should be identified based on the pxobj class from the clipboard, and based on this pxobj class, it will be picking up the best email account rule. So here pxobj class will be this one, and in that case it will be another implementation application too. Okay, so here I'm trying to provide something like Gmail. So automatically this will be picked up. You need not provide any of these things. Okay, so here what should be the email address? Sender. Here we have to provide the sender information. So I want to give something like, and give the display name as something like, okay. User ID also provide the same, and password should be your Gmail password. So these are all the details it has to be pulled out. Okay, you can able to use the same details also for the receiver. If at all customer is trying to reply it for that, what are all the things, so for which email it has to be replied. So I'm trying to give the receiver email address also. So if I just click on submit, okay, so if I just click on submit, this email account will be created. From here PRPC can able to pick up this class name, and it will be picking up this SMTP host, port number, and my Gmail ID and password. Okay, so these are all the things it will be picking up. So now all the things can be supplied for the integration. Okay, so these details will be supplied from uh, this will be supplied from smart shape, and this will be from send simple activity, and this will be from this email account, right? And make sure once you create this, it has to be turned to success. Okay, so if it is not success, it will not be running. So there will be two cases where you will not be getting the success. One thing is if you are not having internet connected, so this will be failing. And second thing is all the security access should be turned off, then only it will be connecting. Okay, so you can able to see this integrated successfully. So if we just click here, we can able to see one email account created with this ID, and this is all the things. Okay, so for this Gmail ID and with this password, it has been integrated successfully. So that is the thing we have to understand. If at all, if you want to have multiple email accounts, okay, uh, I want to send from one email box only, I mean from one integration only. If I want to send with multiple from addresses like orders at the rate amazon.com, I might be using, my organization might be using something like customer service at the rate amazon.com or complaints at the rate amazon.com. So these three are the inboxes I want to integrate here. So is that possible here? It is not possible. Why? Because if we just open email account, we can able to have only one ID. Okay, only one email I can able to provide it here. I cannot able to provide multiple things. If at all, if you want to have another email account created, you cannot able to create it in the same class. Why? Because if we have one email account created with two classes, it will be problem for this activity to be picking up. As I told you, if I just provide email account, PRPC will be picking up one best thing from the class, from the OBJ, as per the OBJ class. If I have something like CHG, this particular class with two instances, so it will be getting confused. That is the reason PRPC will not be allowing us to create multiple email accounts with same class group. Okay, and if you want to have this to be integrated with multiple email bodies, email addresses, then you have to create it in different classes. That's it. You can able to have one separate flow created for the orders, one separate flow created for the complaints in different class groups. So for each and every class group, we can able to have only one email account. That is important. So we have created one email account, and we have to provide the basic details here. So let us work on the same thing. If we just enter few details in the first screen, and if you just click on submit button, automatically one email has to be sent to the concerned team. So that is my requirement. So I'm trying to make modifications. So by this time you should have understood the disadvantage of this particular smart shape. So if I go for smart shape, I cannot able to go for multiple email inboxes integrated. For that I have to create separate email accounts, and I have to have it separate flows created for that. So which may not be possible. So in that kind of scenarios, if my organization is having multiple emails, multiple from emails, then we have to go for send email notification OTP activity on. That is like approach one. Okay. If at all, if you want to send from only one email address, so in this scenario, we'll be sending only from one email address only, right? So this is something like in customer registration page. So we can able to have one dedicated email for this like customer registration at the rate amazon.com. So in this kind of scenarios, we'll be going for this kind of things. Okay. So once we include the smart shape, double click. So I don't want to give any hard coded email here. I want to use the property reference, what the customer is entering in his first screen. So that will be registered here. So during runtime, it has to pick it from the clipboard. And what should be the subject? Subject should be thanks for registering. Okay. So as I told you, we can able to go for custom or we can able to go for correspondence. So let me select custom. Okay. So I'm providing like this. So click on done. We have provided all the necessary details what we can able to do it from Smart Shell. Okay. And rest of the things that will be automatically picking up by PRPC. So you need not do anything. Okay. So the send simple email that will be running in the background and that will be picking up necessary details from the email account and that will be supplying it here. So I'm saving it. Okay. You refresh this and save. If you save it, you have created one email shape in that flow, but here it is not reflecting. So that is the reason you'll be getting stale error. So you have to refresh it, then the changes will be reflected here, then you have to save it. Okay. Now save this. And you can able to see the same by clicking here also. If I just click here, all the details can be seen in the right side. Okay, so this is the field value and this is the subject, this is the message, and here we are going for custom, not for the correspondence, and save it. So create the new work object ID now. So these are all not configured. Okay, so I'm providing email here like, okay, can you tell me your email ID so that it should be reflecting in your inbox? Uma, you tell me your email ID. I don't remember. Okay, so this is the one, right, Uma? So I'm clicking on submit now. Am I audible?
Yes, Chandra. Yes, Chandra, audible.
Okay, so now I'm clicking on submit button. So as soon as we click on submit button, as per the process, it has to go to the second shape, that is send email. Okay, so if that is registered successfully, we can able to have it like one attachment. Okay, so this is for the reference. If we just click here, we can able to see the customized mail sending or not. So we can able to see this is the time and this is the from email address and this is the to address and this is subject and this should be the body. So Uma, you can confirm me whether you got mail or not. So this will be applicable for each and every screen. So this is also one of the instance of the work object ID. So just let me know if you get any mail or not. So this is one way of sending email, and the second
Yes,
thing is we
Chandra,
can
I
able.
received the email. Yeah.
You got it right?
Yeah, got it.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So this is one way of sending the email. So the other way is we can able to send the same using uh, send email notification. That is one thing, and we can able to have something like an correspondence also. Okay, so here we can able to see something like correspondence. So if we just click on custom, we have to enter our customized message. This is just like an hard coded value, and there will be something like in correspondence. So if we want to have anything that will be something like an reusable, we have to go for this correspondence rule. If I just select it, it will be asking for something selection here, meaning we have to create one separate correspondence rule, and in that we have to decide, sorry, we have to give the message, and that will be called automatically from this correspondence rule. So now let us discuss something about correspondence, and then after we'll discuss about remaining things. So correspondence is a rule where we can able to send something like a notification. So notification might be either email or fax or phone SMS or anything. Okay. So this particular correspondence rule can be created under process category. So under process category, there will be something called correspondence. I'm giving something like this. So as I told you, this correspondence rule can be used for sending notifications. The notification might be either email or mail or fax or phone text. So I can able to go for correspondence rule creation for any of these. So I can able to go for email in this case. Okay, I want to use this correspondence rule only for email. Then you have to select it. And if you want to go anything like in printing or the document or the normal posting, then you have to go for mail. Okay, fax. This is for fax, and this is for phone text notifications. Okay, select this one, so you can able to have it created here. Create and open. Okay, so this is how correspondence rule will be looking like. This is just similar to our paragraph rule. We can able to see here. We can able to define the messages. We can able to insert any of the properties, or we can able to insert the hard coded value or other rules as well. So I can able to define something like hi, and I can able to insert the property. Okay, so the first name property I can able to insert. Able to insert like customer details dot first name. So this will be of text format. So this will be exactly looking like a paragraph only. Okay, and here we can able to include normal hard coded message, or we can able to include our paragraphs. I mean, sorry, we can able to include our sections also. So if the customer is entering any of the details, so in the screen number one, he will be entering few details, right? His first name, last name, his date of birth, all these details will be registered. And if we want to send all these details for the reference, even then we can able to do that. For that, let me insert the whole section rule. So here we'll be having like an insert rule. So if we click here, we can able to insert all other rules. I can able to go for section rule. Here it will be asking the section what to be included. I want to include something like customer details section. Okay, so in the customer details section, what are all the details we are entering that will be included into this particular correspondence rule. Okay, if I am using this correspondence rule as an source, as a body message for the email, so the whole thing has to be sent there, and we have to provide the page also. So all the time it will be PV work page only, right? For the workflow, we have to define it here, and it should be defined in the pages and classes also, else it will not accept. So PRPC has to know, so this particular rule has to know what is PWork page. During runtime, we can able to know this, but for the saving, PRPC has to understand what is PWork page and in which class it will be referring to. Okay, so here we have to define something like PWork page will be referring to, so which class it will be referring. So this class, right? Here we can able to get it from PXOBJ class. So we can able to paste till here also. That should be working. And now include that We can able to include any of the messages here. So here we can able to provide something like an hard code. Instead of we providing hard coded value here, we can able to include something like in signature also. So for that we can able to have one more rule created like correspondence fragment. Okay, so correspondence is the main rule where we can able to include all the necessary body of the message, and there will be something like a correspondence fragment. Fragment is just like a small piece of the existing, right? So using correspondence fragment, if I want to include anything like common thing like signature or the greetings, okay, so even when we're sending one mail also, then we will be selecting something like in signature. Automatically uh, the piece of that code, I mean our signature will be automatically included there, right? So that will be considered as one of the fragment of the body. So here also we can able to go for one separate correspondence fragment rule created only for my signature. And if I just want to include the signature, instead of we typing each and every time, we can able to include that fragment rule. Okay, for that we have to create one separate fragment rule, and it can be created under this one. So create the fragment rule. I can able to include something like signature. So here I want to include this for my email, right? Create and open. So here I can able to include. Okay, so I'm saving it. So one correspondence fragment rule has been created, and that rule should be included in the main correspondence rule. For that we have to go for insert rule, and there will be something like fragment. Okay, so this is the instance class for the fragment rule. So that is what it is asking to select. So if we just select this, it will be asking us to select the corresponding fragment rule. If we are not getting it here, just copy and paste. So there will be sometimes HTML issues. So this is the rule, right? Just copy and paste it here. Okay, and it will be asking for the page. You give the same page name, that is py work page, and save this. So let me include py work page everywhere. Okay, so in this way we can able to insert the properties and other rules also. So now we have created one correspondence rule. So this correspondence rule we can able to call it in the message directly. So this is the thing, right? So here instead of we going for message custom, we can able to go for correspondence. Here we have to select the correspondence rule. So this is the rule I have created. So just click save. Okay, so if I just enter, so if I just create the new email thing, first name I'm giving something like sample 2, and date of birth I'm giving this one. Okay, so I'm selecting mail and phone number this one, so I'm giving the same. Okay, so if I just click on submit button, so now correspondence rules has to be triggered and it has to be having this as an attachment sent for the concerned team. So if I just open this here, I should be having all this included. Okay, so this is the first name what I'm trying to include, and this is the from address, and this is the to address, and this is the subject, and these all things has to be included there. So Uma, did you get?
One second, Chandra. I didn't receive. Waiting.
Yeah, so it will not take more than a minute.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I received, Chandra. Yeah, I received with the basic details and sample one.
Yeah, you will
The
not be
first
finding
name,
these kind
last
of
name,
images, I
date
think.
of birth. Yeah, all the datas I have.
Yeah, you got as it is, right? You may not
Yeah,
get. Why?
yes.
Because yeah, that's up to Gmail configuration. Gmail may support some of the styles or may not. So you'll
Okay.
be getting all these details, but styles may not apply. That's with Gmail issue, not our issue, not PRPC issue.
Okay.
So
And
mail has
finally,
been
we
sent.
have one option like operator E2.
This is what we have here given here, right? So that is the thing you're getting there also.
Okay, okay.
The whole section will be included. So nothing like
Mm.
we are adding anything new here. Okay. So in this way, we can able to work with correspondence rule, correspondence fragment rules, and we can able to have this email sent from send email notification or this particular smart shape also. Okay, but if we are going with the smart shape, so the disadvantage here is we should be having only one email account linked here. Okay, we can able to see only one thing, so we can able to have only one email connected. If I want to have multiple emails, that will not be possible. Okay, so in that case you have to go for send email notification only. Here we can able to go for multiple email accounts in which we can able to have multiple multiple inboxes linked to this, and we can able to send the multiple emails also to the concerned teams. Also we can able to send bulk emails also, that is possible. And if you want to have this to be included with this structure, then you have to go for different email accounts created in the different class groups. So clear, right? Any doubts as of now? So you can able to have this same
We have
integration.
created, Chandra, I have one doubt. Like
Tell
we
me.
have created the send email notifications with the case type, right? So
Hmm.
case types declaration. But when we are working with the dynamic layouts and adding the contents of email, so is it the same procedure that we have to follow with the case type?
So if we are not following with the case type, you're asking, right? Or
Yes.
this is what we have
Yeah,
seen
this
with
is
case type only.
send email notification. We are declared and working on with the case type. Suppose we are working with
Hmm.
the session and declare the session under the dynamic layout. We are yeah defining one user interface. Under that we will create one session, and there we are creating one email notifications, right? Suppose we have
No,
taken
no.
one property
This
and declared. So we
this
have to
particular
follow the same procedure.
procedure is same. So we have to add this smart shape in the process, in the flow diagram, not in the section or user interface. Okay, if we open it here, we can able to see this particular thing added in the flow diagram, right? So this is what we have done using case type. If at all, if you are going with other approach, like not the case types, what you have to do is you have to take one more smart shape, that is like send email. You include it somewhere. On
Okay.
finishing of this particular assignment, the smart shape will be executed and it will be doing its own action. Okay, so the process is same. You can able to use it here, or you can able to use there also in the case types also, or the normal traditional way also you can able to approach. So this using of send email shape is just in the process tab. I mean in the flow diagram, not in the section or in the user interface. We can able to do in both the ways also, no issues. That is your doubt,
Okay,
right?
but so when creating the properties, there we have to change any of the options to enable that utility options to capture the datas. For example, when you send an email to me, it listed
Hmm.
all the datas, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so there also I captured like a mail. Under that I have the my email ID was in the text
Yes.
box.
Yeah, yeah.
So my question is, we have created one text, right? So that text properties, we have to enable those send email ID to represent that, like a utility you are defining, right?
Yes,
So
yes, we can able to do
how will
that.
you implement it
So
with the text box? Yeah, to
if you want to
enable the
hide,
email ID.
so for this we are trying to have everything included. If you want to have this enabled, clear, right? This
Mm-hmm.
particular text box to be enabled. Is that the thing you're asking?
Yeah, here we are specifying something asdas@gmail, right?
Uh, yes, yes. So this is what the mail what customer is entering there. So we will be just sending all these details for the reference only, no? So if you are getting any message, anything from Amazon about your order number or anything, that will be just only for reference. It should be only read only. We cannot able to make the modifications, no? So whatever the thing that are already stored in the database, we're trying to show as a reference. That's it. So they should not be enabled. So this will be hidden all the time. Read only will be there. Even in the normal Gmail also, normal mails also, you cannot able to have anything text boxes included or enabled.
Okay.
Is that your doubt? I mean, did I answer your question?
Mm,
Or if you want to include only specific things, instead of showing all this, if you want to hide
no,
any sensitive
so these
data,
are the
uh,
details we are collecting from the page.
mm,
Then
yeah, then we are including all
how
the
we are
section.
establishing that send email with the utility box. So that's what I'm asking.
That is,
So
yeah, that
when
is not utility box, Uma. That is actually smart shape. So this is what you're talking about, right? You're talking about this one only, no? Uma, you're talking about this one only. So this is not called as an utility shape. So this is a
okay,
smart send email smart shape. This is utility shape. Both are different. So using
okay,
this utility shape, what we have to do is we have to call one activity. So with this activity, within this, we can able to call one OOTB activity called send email notification. Okay, so in that case, we will be going for this one. Okay,
okay,
but if you want to make use of this email account or the send simple email, then you have to go for the smart shape. This shape and this shape both are different. Okay,
okay, okay,
if you're going with this approach, then you have to create one separate thing called email account. But with the first approach like send email notification, this is not required. Creation of all this is not required.
okay.
Do you have any doubts, Rani? So for send email notification, we can able to have many things included here itself. What are the Java code that is already created that should be working fine, and we have to just include only basic properties. If we just pass all this as in parameters, then we need not create any other rule. Okay, we can able to have this called from many places. We can able to do that also. Okay, so we'll discuss about this when we're working with declare triggers. I'll tell you what is declare trigger now. And after we discuss about declare trigger, we'll see how to work with this send email notification activity also. Okay, before that, we have to discuss something like in declare trigger. So we have already discussed many things about declarative rules. So declarative rules are the rules which will be automatically executed as per the declarative network. So there will be one network declarative that PRPC will be monitoring all the rules which are created under that network, and without we referencing it in anywhere, these rules will be automatically executed. Okay, so there will be few declarative rules, that is like declare trigger, declare index, declare on change, okay, declare expression, and one thing like declare constraint. Okay, so declare constraint and on change and expression, these three will be dealing only with the properties. Okay, so if the properties are getting changed or monitored, these three rules can be used. And there will be other declarative rules called trigger and index. Okay, so these two rules will be monitoring only database. The database is getting modified or updated or deleted, not only database, it will be just monitoring the records in the database. Okay, if any of the table is getting updated, modified, inserted, or committed, or saved, any kind of operations, if you are just having it to be monitored, you can able to go for declare trigger rule. Okay, so declare trigger rule will be like an instance under decision category. There will be something called declare trigger here. So if I just open any of the existing one, so this is how declare trigger rule will be looking like. As I told you, this declarative rules is just for creation. We need not refer it anywhere. Here we will not be having anything for the data table to be given. As I told you, these declare trigger rules are monitor only data tables, database tables. So is it asking anywhere about the database table name? It is not asking. Okay, but when we're working with declare expression or on change or constraint, at least when we're creating the particular declarative rules, it will be asking for the properties, and we need not refer this particular declarative rule anywhere. So that is one thing we have learned. But here when we're working with declare trigger, it is not even asking the database table. So first thing is we need not refer it anywhere, that's for sure. And second thing is, for the definition also, it is not asking anywhere about the data table. Okay, but how it will be monitoring the corresponding table. Suppose if I just want to have something like an something like mail to be sent, so manage, so in our, as per our previous example, manager can able to send one, sorry, manager can able to create one member with his login ID, right? So from the manager portal, manager can able to create one member. Okay, apart from the flow creation, there will be another way of creating a member ID in our organization, so that manager can do. So whenever manager is doing that, then there should be some automated emails to be sent to the concerned team. Concerned team meaning the group of managers or the HRs for the approval. So these kind of things. So if I just want to send one notification as an email, then what I have to do? I have to write one declare trigger rule monitoring to the corresponding database table. Whenever the record is getting inserted, then declare trigger rule has to be triggered and it has to run one activity. Here we can able to see activity called. So it has to run one activity, and within this activity I can able to go for send email notification activity. Okay, so this is the approach what we are trying to follow. So using these declarative rules, using this declarative trigger rules, it is nowhere asking about the data table. That is one surprising thing. And we can able to have this trigger rule created for any of the things like updation, modification, deletion. So these are all the things. So whenever the particular table is getting deleted, you can able to select this one and create it, meaning this declarative trigger rule will be executed only if any of the record is getting deleted. Okay, and if at all, if I want to have this declare trigger rule to be triggered whenever any of the record is getting saved, so on a whole, we can able to have only one operation performed by this trigger rule. So from the table what we're discussing, like add member table, if I want to have declarative trigger monitored for each and everything, like saving, deleting, modifying, committing, everything, then you have to go for 5 different trigger rules. That is the only option. Okay, with one trigger rule, I can able to monitor only one thing. I can able to save it. If I any of the record is getting saved into the table, okay, into the table, then declarative trigger has to be working. And if it is getting deleted, if any of the record is getting deleted, and if you want to run one trigger rule, based on the trigger rule, if you want to run one activity, you can able to do that. Okay, So trigger rule will be performing only one operation at a time. And if we want to perform multiple operation, all this, we have to create multiple trigger rules. That is one thing. And second thing is, where are we having this table name given? So if I just want to have something like this one. So if I just want to have any record inserted here, if I want to have this trigger rule to be created, okay, then where should I link this? So that will be our next surprising thing. So the thing here is, whichever the table, as I told you, declare trigger rule is meant to monitor only for tables. So for whichever the table, if you want to be monitored, you have to create the trigger rule within the class. That is the only option. Okay, so here we have to go for one trigger rule created within this class. If I just create 5 trigger rules within the same class having different thing monitored in each and every rule, okay, it will be monitored for all the time. It will be monitored whenever it is getting deleted, inserted, all these things. Okay, so whenever this trigger rule is getting created, it has to run one activity, and here we can able to go for send email notification activity. Okay, here we can able to have one customized activity, and there we can able to pass all the necessary parameters which are required to send all this, and we can able to have this email sent. So clear, right? So we'll discuss about this declare trigger and the send email notification activity tomorrow. Clear? Any doubts?